Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. We're back for another training session. Let me just do a little technical background checking back here to make sure you can see me and hear me. Hold on. Always an important part of this whole process to make sure I am seen and heard. Um, let's see. Oh, there I am. Great. Awesome. Okay. So I may be looking over here to my left occasionally because I'll be looking for commenting and things like that. Sometimes it doesn't show up on my computer screen. So, anyway, so for those of you who are joining us today, I am teaching you how to quickly brainstorm a huge bank of ideas so that you can create oodles of marketing content to grow your real estate staging business. And if you're tuning in and you actually own your own business, whether it's staging or not, this will probably help you as well because it's pretty universal. So, hi, I see people starting to pop in. Give me a heart, give me a thumbs up to let me know that you're here. Today, what I want to do is because a lot of times I feel like I'm just talking. If you hear something that really resonates with you, I'd love for you to give me like a little hashtag in the comment section, just like a little bit like hashtag gold. Just type in the word gold. Like that is like a golden piece of advice there, something like new that you've heard. Just so that I can have some, we can have some back and forth. Hi, I see Missouri coming in. I see Karen coming in. So we've got Canada in the house. We've got South Africa in the house. That's so exciting. Awesome. Okay, so again, today we are diving into some quick ways to be able to brainstorm a lot of ideas for your marketing content. Last week we talked about understanding where your buyers are in the phase of getting to know you, getting to know your business, getting to even recognize that they have a problem. So if you didn't see that video last week, definitely make a note to go back and to look at that. Oh, we've got Roberta from Milan. Hello, we've got Italy in the house. This is so fun. Hi, everybody. Um, so for those of you who are new to me, I'm Lori Fisher with Rethink Home Interiors, and Rethink Home Interiors is a full-service real estate staging company in the Philadelphia suburbs, and we have been around since 2011. That's when I founded this crazy, awesome business. So, and I love to share marketing ideas and strategies that I have learned along the way to help other stagers across the world, the globe, grow their staging businesses as well. Because for a lot of us, staging isn't really an entrenched thing in our areas, just like it wasn't here in Philadelphia. So I was in a market where I really had to create the demand for the service. So I had to learn a lot along the way, and I'm going to share that with you today. So again, if you hear anything that you like, give me a heart, give me a thumbs up, or give me a little hashtag gold in the comment section today. So when we go to create content, one of the things that I think stumps a lot of us, and when I say content, I mean when you're looking for creating marketing messages for your social media, for your emails that you might be sending out, maybe for your presentations, it can be very difficult to do this without having kind of a framework to start with and really even a strategic goal. And I talk about the fact that there are really three key things that we need to happen in being the chief marketing officers in our businesses. Oh my gosh, hello from Poland. Oh my goodness, we've got everybody from everywhere today. We really need to get noticed, get known, and get new clients. And I always say that getting noticed and getting new clients is really the easy part. It is that messy middle, the getting known, that really is challenging. And this is where all of your marketing efforts really begin to help move you from that path of getting noticed to actually getting new clients. Because once you're known and once people trust you, they understand a bit more about you, your process, your philosophy, and how you work with their clients, you will find it much easier to get new clients. So we're going to be, again, focusing today in that getting known zone, as it were. Okay. So in-person networking is really the starting point for all of us, right, in our businesses. So I don't want to discount any of that as I move forward in this. I spend a lot of time talking about digital marketing, but it doesn't replace actual in-person networking. So I'm going to put that little caveat across all of this today. So what happens when you do in-person networking is that's where you're getting noticed, right? But we want to be able to continue to grow and develop that relationship. And that's really where the digital tools that we have available to us today come into play. And so as much as social media and maybe blogging or doing video might kind of scare you, we actually have to think like how lucky we are and to live in this environment right now where we can be really in front of our prospective clients so much more than the days of sending out mailers and postcards and things like that. So it's a real opportunity for us to embrace it. And I want to teach you, and through all the things I work with you on, I love teaching you how to use it to your best advantage to grow your business too. So, and digital marketing is not going away; it is staying. This is the way that people have been doing business for a long time, and it's only going to continue to be that way. So, the more we get comfortable with it and more strategic with it, the more effective we're going to be. But the challenges that we have to face as we create content for staying in touch with our communities is attention, right? We're fighting for attention. People have limited amounts of it now. We're getting, bombarded constantly in our feeds and in our inboxes. So there's a lot of competition for attention, but also a lot of it's very fleeting too, right? So, whereas maybe a postcard or a business card might sit on someone's desk for a while and sit in front of them, a social media post is gone with, almost immediately. So we've got to be there even more than most of us think. So that's a definite challenge. It needs consistency as a result. And I talked about that last week. That's one of the biggest areas where people fall down on, is that we've got to get consistent, right? We need to be strategic. So we want to be thinking about, where our clients are in the buying process. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how you can get even deeper with your strategy in creating your marketing messages. And we need to understand that we're going to feel like we are repeating ourselves constantly. I have, shared the story of the importance of online listing photos like a gajillion times. The Sell Your House in 72 Hours message, which is from my ebook, a million times. But you've just got to keep putting it in front of people. And if you think about the companies that you interface with, the companies that you work with, you very likely know pretty much exactly what they stand for because you've heard that marketing message over and over and over again. So again, like I said, last week we kind of talked about where our clients are in the buying process and the types of content that you can create for each of those phases. And today we're going to go in and we're going to get a little bit deeper, and we're going to use some tools that I like to use when I sit down to create the content and plan it out for our business. And here's the thing too, I don't want you to get judgy as you go to work through some of this with yourself. Don't get judgy about your ideas if they're corny, if they're silly, or they resonate with people. All of the marketing that we do is really experimentation. And if you can come at it from that perspective, you will be so much better off, right? Because if we're just playing to see what people respond to, then that makes it just easier. So you go, okay, well, that message didn't work. So I know I'm not going to use that message again. So move on, right? So we're experimenting. We're trying to fail fast so that we can get closer to what actually turns people into buying clients for our staging businesses. So the two frameworks that I'm going to dive into now are, first of all, one is called the escape arrival framework. And when we use the escape arrival framework, we're going to use the second tool, which is micro angles. So let me explain to you what the escape arrival framework is. The escape arrival framework is essentially taking your clients from their pain point. So what is it that the problem, the issue that they are experiencing, and we want to take them along a path to your solution. And so all of our marketing should be doing this, right? We should be tapping into people's pain points and telling them why we are the solution for this. So in order to take them along that journey, though, we need to know some things about them, or we need to assume some things about them. The cool thing is that you can start making assumptions and putting content out there and start working with clients, and you will get feedback that there are probably even more pain points and problems that people are looking to solve than you ever actually thought of. And when we go into the micro angles in a minute, I'll talk to you about how you can kind of guess what those pain points are even more effectively. Okay, so here are some questions that I want you to think about. Spend some time journaling these things, writing them down, thinking about them. And the more that you can spend thinking about your clients and putting yourselves in your clients' shoes, the better your marketing messages will be. But here are a few that I want you to, if you have a notebook, take notes on this. What is the biggest challenge they are currently facing? Now, with staging, that could seem obvious, right? They're currently facing that they have to put their house on the market, right? But it can be so much deeper than that, right? It's a relocation for a business that they weren't expecting. It could be a divorce. It could be death. It could be a sickness that the house no longer supports your client, right? So if we think about it, the reasons are so much deeper than just looking to sell and for more money. And that tends to be in our business a lot of the marketing messages. Hey, if you want to sell your house faster and for more money, you should work with us. Well, some people, they're not necessarily going to identify with that. Some people don't actually want to sell their houses, right? I was just working in the house of a widow. She's sad. Her husband was a builder and he did a lot of the building of her house. She doesn't necessarily even want to sell her house. So we have to be sensitive to that. Why have they not relieved the pain point already? So why are they still sitting with the pain point? Is it because they don't know that a solution exists, that they don't know that you exist? Why would your client be sitting, maybe listing a house as we see on Zillow all the time, without having some staging done? Do they not realize the importance of the listing photos? Do they not know that the way that you live is different than the way that you sell, or the way that a camera captures a space, right? So there's a whole host of reasons. Maybe they think it's expensive, and we'll dive into this in a minute with the micro angles. So what is the biggest challenge they're currently facing? Why haven't they solved it yet? If you can guesstimate what that might be. Maybe they're too overwhelmed. They're just trying to dive in and get work done, and don't even realize that a stager could be helpful to them. What are the solutions they've tried in the past that haven't worked, right? So maybe this is a marketing message for a realtor or an investor. Maybe an investor continually lists their houses because they think they made them look incredible, but they are listing them without furniture. So maybe it's taking them longer, and they're having to carry the costs of those houses longer, right? And so carrying costs is a big thing for investors that you'd want to tap into. Maybe for realtors, they have thought they could do it themselves, and now they're too busy, or they don't like being the good cop, the bad cop, as people talk about with us, right? So what are the solutions that they might have tried in the past, kind of DIYing it, that didn't work? Is it costing them money and time? We all know the answer to that is yes. They don't necessarily know that, so we've got to tap into that a little bit with our marketing. Is it affecting their quality of life? Very likely, and if you've done any work with any clients for any period of time, you will find that there are people that are still living together who are actually divorced because they cannot move out of the house until they can sell it and then move into their separate locations. They just can't afford it, right? There are people who have a medical diagnosis that haven't been able to sell their house because they didn't hire a staging company first, and they have been stuck. So there's definitely an impact on quality of life with these things. So again, what is their biggest challenge? Why haven't they relieved it? What are the other solutions they might have tried that didn't work? Did they try to list, for sale by owner or something like that? Is it costing them time and money? So I'm going to have you start with those. There's several other questions, but I want to start there just to keep it simple for this week. So as you are thinking about those things, I'm going to give you the second framework, which is thinking about the micro angles that you can use to answer those questions in a deeper way. So micro angles is not my concept. This is from the amazing team of Julie Stoyan and Kathy Olson of The Offer Cure. They are phenomenal. So they talk about micro angles when you're creating an online offer, but we can use it in our in-person staging businesses as well to answer some of these questions in the escape arrival framework. So first of all, macro is big picture, right? If you are saying, I like to work with investors who sell in such and such a zip code, that might sound really specific, but it's a macro angle. Turn that into a micro angle, you would talk about the fact that you like to work with investors to reduce their carrying costs by helping them sell faster. Like, you want to get even deeper than that and tapping into their money, right? Usually the provocative elements are health, wealth, and oh gosh, I'm blanking on it. Health, wealth, and relationships. Sorry. Health, wealth, and relationships. Those are big levers to make people, make decisions. And we can tap into many of those, actually all three of those, with our staging messages. So that's big picture, right? Micro angle dials in a little bit deeper. Small ways that you can kind of approach a problem. So, one of the examples that they have used is homeschooling, right? In their thing. So, homeschooling, there are so many micro angles. People can say, I don't have the time to homeschool. I'm not really a teacher. I would love to homeschool my kids because I want to be able to travel and not worry about the holiday school, schedule for schools. And that was in pre-COVID times, right, when we could travel. So, and they recommend using both positive and negative micro angles. So positive micro angles are the positive benefits of staging that we talk about all of the time. So if we want to, and positive micro angles are perfect for clients who actually have bought into the idea of staging. They just haven't taken the next step to work with you, right? So they know about staging. They know that it's beneficial. They just might need to hear themselves in your content a little bit more, hear their pain point a little bit more. So if we want to convince somebody about, staging, using positive micro angles, it might be something like a paint by numbers plan to make it easy for you to get the work done or to keep you from getting too overwhelmed, right? We can take something that feels very overwhelming, like getting your house ready to sell, and we can bring it down into bite-sized, doable, manageable pieces that you can get done quickly, easily. Get done, increase the value of your house in 48 hours, right? Like that's actually something that we can do. Maybe tapping into they want to feel house proud when their listing goes live. I've heard that from clients, like they feel so proud of their house when it goes up online for the world to see. That is actually tapping into a positive kind of pain point for people. Buyers can see your house's full potential, which then leads to the fast offer. Your house sells fast, so you don't have to keep it showing ready, especially if you've got kids or you're trying to do online schooling with your kids. If we do this work, your house will sell faster. It'll sell by the end of the weekend. You'll never have to worry about the kids' toys, the pets, the dogs, that kind of thing. That's tapping in even deeper to micro angles. So I don't know if anybody, if you're feeling that difference between kind of the generic, bigger overarching messages, but those deeper micro angles really tap into our emotion centers. And as we all know, or maybe not, in neuroscience, our emotional centers are our buying centers. A lot of times people think we are thinking logical beings who buy based on emotion, but we're actually emotional beings, and logic is so much less important in the buying cycle than the emotion. So we've got to learn how to tap into the emotion of things, and by tapping into the emotions, then we get people to move forward further. So now, negative micro angles. I'm a super positive, happy, rainbows and sunshine kind of person. So the negative angles are a little bit harder for me, but I've actually realized there are some things that we can look at as negative angles that some people would maybe consider positive. So let me kind of explain that. Like, my house looks great already, right? So and negative micro angles are kind of meant to dispel myths, misperceptions, and biases against using your product. So this is for somebody who maybe is still on the fence about staging as a whole. So they haven't even gotten to the place where they're like ready to use your service. So they're the people that are like, my house looks amazing already. Or maybe it's a realtor or an investor who says, oh, I can do it myself. Or I know somebody who has the skill set to do it themselves. It's going to be expensive. Those are all kind of what I consider negative micro angles because they are resistance that prevents people from moving forward with us. So in that case, for negative micro angles, if you want to convince someone to hire a stager, kind of using a micro angle strategy, you'd say something like, your house can look amazing in person and still fall flat in listings. One of my most popular blog posts after Dark Sofas is, even good houses fail to sell in a hot real estate market. So it's tapping into this idea that your house actually can look beautiful to you, but there's something a little bit different in expertise that a stager offers. And for those of you who followed me for any length of time, I talk a lot about how a camera captures a space, and this is exactly why. I want to put a little seed of doubt into people's minds that they actually don't know how their houses are going to photograph. Again, the camera captures a space differently. It's another great marketing angle. I tell a lot of my clients that it's not unlike taking a picture of yourself. You see yourself in the mirror every day, and there are things that you don't notice about yourself that then when you take a picture, you totally see. So those are marketing messages that we like to convey in our marketing, is that the camera captures a space differently. So no matter what you see in front of you, likely going to look very different through the lens of a camera. The other thing is that you can tap into with the expensive part is, like our team, we talk about this all the time in sales calls, that we work in so many houses, and we've worked in so many houses where there wasn't a budget to change anything. It wasn't realistic from a timing perspective or a logistical perspective. So we know exactly what you need to do to, minimally invest time, money, energy, and effort to get great results, to sell your house fast. So those are just a couple of examples. There are so many more examples that I could have included in here, but when you are thinking about taking your client on a journey and on a path that leads them to a buying decision, in that escape arrival framework, you can really use these positive micro angles. So tapping into the benefits that it could mean to someone's life by hiring you, and then tapping into these negative micro angles where it's to dispel a myth or misperception that someone might have about our services, to move them forward, to plant a little seed of doubt that they don't actually know the whole picture, right? So sometimes people don't buy from us because they think they totally understand what we do, and they base a lot of that on HGTV and things like that, which we all know not very realistic. So people might think, like the Property Brothers, no, love the Property Brothers, but we're typically not recommending people knock out walls and redo bathrooms, full guts and things like that. So anyway, just a couple of more strategies to move you along to get even better at your marketing there: the escape arrival framework and the micro angle framework. Next week, we're going to be diving into the CEO mindset, because sometimes we end up wearing so many hats in our businesses that we need to step back in order to give ourselves, a 1,000-foot view so we can move us forward. Because I really want us to be thinking about that as everybody's moving forward into 2021, is really beginning to think about you as the CEO in your business versus the doer worker bee. Okay. So anyway, guys, take some time, sit, journal on this, and if you haven't seen last week's training, definitely go back and review that too. That's a really good foundation for this as well. And if you haven't gotten your copy of the Profitable Staging Starter Kit, it's just a free guide in there to get you rolling on even more ways to think about your clients and getting into their minds so that you can begin to tap into it through your marketing. So interesting. I'm going to implement this on my marketing. All right, Karen, that's awesome. Yeah, and especially Karen. Karen is in South Africa, and Karen is building her building her service, building staging there in South Africa. It's not entrenched. And so you're actually really going to be doing a lot more marketing than maybe some people in parts of, like California and Colorado here in the States, where it's just really, booming and everybody seems to have it as part of their marketing plan. So you are actually building your market there, which is awesome. Trailblazers. All right, my staging tribe. Awesome to see you all. And for those of you who catch me in replay, replay, so I know that you watched it. I'll see you next week. We'll be talking about the CEO mindset and a few ways that you can get yourself into that. And have a great one. All right, guys. Bye.